Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Game 2 of Sloaters versus Nitro here in Winners Round 2 of the Speedgaming Live 2023 Super Metroid Randomizer Tournament. I'll be with you again for this game. Solo, again. Eddie's not going to come aboard the flagship station here with me, Speedgaming. And so the mode's going to be the same. It's going to be that major-minor item randomization with the full area randomization and the boss shuffle. In game 1, we saw Sloaters take a decisive victory with a checking speed booster for a charge beam, as well as some execution advantage over Nitro as well in that game. In that speed booster skip from Nitro there, I don't even think it was necessarily bad. It's one of those plays where I think what either runner did is very defensible. It just kind of turned into Nitro's worst case scenario in that situation, and you kind of can't necessarily judge a decision based on its worst case scenario. So we're going to go into game 2 here, and both of these runners are going to go back down to Retro Brinstar in the same way. I think if you're Nitro, you're hoping for another, or if you're Nitro, you're hoping for a seed very different from the last one. You want one that has a lot less visibility into what is a higher percentage play. And if you're Sloaters, you want one exactly like the last one, I think. She demonstrated that some of her execution advantage makes her really hard to beat in seeds like that. It's just really hard to keep up with a runner at as high of a caliber as she is. So let's see what we got here at the pedestal here. So a plasma beam. Plasma beam, nice item. Its biggest uses are if you find that charge beam, but charge beam can be buried so deep it might not even be that useful of an item. So outside of the charge beam, the biggest benefit of plasma beam is for a very low lower warfare. It just makes the key hunters a lot safer because you can hitbox them to avoid taking damage. So finding a plasma beam there is definitely, that's kind of what the runners are thinking about when they find that beam there. Just nice to have, not really impactful or game breaking just yet. So a super missile at the right side again. And they're both going to head down to the alpha missiles and check to see what ammo pickup is there as well. Nitro farming some of the zoomers here just in case they're getting power bombs here, but they don't get power bombs here, so they're going to have to go back up, climb, and parlor again. This is not what Nitro wants to see. So Nitro has a manip to get some power bombs from the hoppers, as was mentioned in game 1. 2-frame window, and it can prove a big advantage sometimes if you can spike a nice ammo pickup at 230 with that extra power bomb. But we're not going to see that here, and both runners are going to be forced to abandon that meme route portal, which could prove a big differentiator in how both of them decide to play around it if they don't find it from the back later. So heading up climb here, very execution heavy room. It's also one of the slower rooms in the game, along with parlor. These are 2 really long rooms. There's an elevator ride, and this is why being able to check that meme route portal is so big, because not only is it just info that'll be nice to have later, but if you can follow it, you get to skip all these rooms, and your criteria will be a lot more efficient later on. So. And a spring ball at the Chozo statue. So both of them are going to have to go through the crab portal in East Criteria in the pre-mote room. It's the only portal that is available with this ammo and this equipment. And this is definitely something that Sloaters is probably kind of happy about. And Sloaters opting not to take a save here. Some runners will like to take a save here, just because having a save at the ship is nice. Nitro didn't need the super missile refill here, but also that extra super missile could prove big. If you find, for instance, a business center here. Sorry, my brain is sometimes. So it's definitely runner preference here. So there's a top of red tower here. Either this portal is going to lead to the power bombs, or the power bombs are going to be at the alpha power bomb location. A little surprised Sloaters checked the portal first. Maybe she's expecting it not to be followable, and we'll come down and get the power bombs first. But if it's a portal you want to follow, like this one, you're really missing out on that alpha power bombs check in this situation, right? Because power bombs could be important, and you're definitely looking for them right now. So Nitro's going to come and check the alpha power bombs location. And a reserve tank at Terminator for Sloaters. And it's just a super missile, so not super as impactful as power bombs would have been there for Nitro. Because that could have been a very, very big pickup. But 5 super missiles isn't the worst to get from there. Certainly better than finding a missile. And Sloaters is trying to fill up her reserve a little bit. That's the hard part about finding the reserve Terminators. It's not full. You almost rather wish the spring ball and reserve were switched, especially if you're Nitro who took a ship save, because then you would know for a fact that your reserve is full here. But fortunately, that's not the case. So Sloaters checking high jump here and finding an E-tank. So, and power bombs were also at the high jump location. This is going to make checking that ice beam a lot easier than in game 1. It'll be a lot more likely that both of our runners will be able to keep whatever item's there if it's not an E-tank. They want it to take damage from a Sova on the way up because they can use that power bomb. And then they also are not going to have to do the ice escape without the ice beam because neither runner will be missing an explosive. So, okay. Nitro checked this first here and knows that that is the vanilla location there. He isn't able to check it without power bombs, though, unfortunately for him. Sloaters trying to get a little bit more in the reserve. Not a bad call. See, so this is what they did not have access to last time. These runners weren't able to power bomb there and get some drops, as well as avoid the hit. Those Sovas deal 20 damage, and both runners were able to pick up, or rather, Sloaters was able to pick up 15 extra health and drops, which is a difference of 35 health. And the high jump boots there as well are nice. It looks like she's going to have enough health to be able to keep them. Farming the Sovas leaving is, with high jump, it's probably all right. It's kind of awkward to leave that room with just high jump, but a lot of times you lose any health you get back from them. Sovas don't have the highest big health drop rate, so you know, maybe with the wave beam it can be worthwhile if you get really lucky, but farming leaving can sometimes not work out for you really well. So it's a good thing she had that 70 in her reserves and was able to keep those high jump boots, because those high jump boots are really nice to have and can be important later. There could be some logical stuff involving them in West or East Meridia. Oh wow, and Nitro laid his power bomb too low, so the Tava didn't die, and he took the hit. Got some health back though. Was able to kill those Sovas fast enough. I think he's gonna need to, definitely needs to pause now. Has a full reserve, so he's perfectly fine. Depending on how much was in that reserve, being able to pause there is nice. Ooh, maybe he gets the ice escape as well. Ooh, wow, very, very skilled from Nitro there. So Sloater's going back to Red Tower here. And maybe she's going to use this save to check the Kraid boss. Or maybe, oh, her power bomb count. That could be actually kind of big. Nitro's power bombs are in a weird spot with only 3, but he should be fine because he's not going to need any more than this. It's not like this is a meme route portal, for instance. So he'll be able to check the ammo check here and still be able to get out super comfortably. Oh, and double super there in Alpha Power Bombs. Sloater's probably feeling really good for checking it after finding the power bombs. And Nitro's going to save here. Technically, a Dragon is beatable, and you can get out with a double spring ball jump with these high jump boots, but suitless, this energy and this ammo, not necessarily a recommended boss to try and beat. And it's a Ridley. You can tell it's a Ridley there because the door's scrolled and you saw the door on the left side of Ridley's room. So Nitro knows the Ridley location. That could prove big if the Kraid location ends up being isolated later. Because with an isolate, if the map works out in a way where it's going to be really hard to get back to that Kraid, that Ridley info could prove really big because it could allow Nitro to potentially pull the trigger on a variolous lower Norfair much sooner than Sloaters would. The hard part about boss info in this mode is it has the potential to be really good, but unfortunately, more often than not, it is kind of just dead weight there. And Sloaters finds a reserve after doing the X-ray deboost there. Pretty difficult strat. In a mode like this, to play at a high level, it's not necessarily required to know. It's certainly not in logic, but it is definitely recommended to know how to do it. For sure. Because it can be really strong. A suit here is just obscenely powerful. With one tank, I don't know how much is in her reserve. So she's going to wait. It's about 15-ish seconds, I believe, to wait on this waiver here. But if you wait on this waiver here, you know, it takes significantly less energy to get back across. And Nitro shouting out Nevdi by falling in the Samus Eater there. And Sloaters checked this portal, but we didn't see it. So that is, ooh, okay. So that is pre-Aqueduct in East Meridia. And yeah, so I don't dislike this. So this is in logic with high jump boots. And this is a situation where high jump logic matters. And being able to have those high jump boots is really big. Because technically with the E-Tank plus reserve, these high jump boots are also in logic. Mama Turtle is not in logic. Actually, Mama Turtle is in logic with the spring ball. So what puts Mama Turtle in logic is being able to get it from the bottom. That is what puts it in logic. So in this instance, it's high jump and ice beam, high jump and spring ball, or of course just the gravity suit. So Nitro is going to be checking Mama Turtle here. I definitely don't hate this at all. With that save in the pre-Aqueduct room, this is a pretty good check. It can pay off really big because it is in logic, and it can be really easy to miss this or have West Meridia be cleared in a way that you do miss this. And then, you know, if this doesn't work out, you get the Main Street portal and you get the Crab Hole portal early, which can be also really big info for later if the map ends up kind of spread out. And that's just a wave beam. Yep, and Nitro definitely wants to save the power bomb. So Sloaters ends up back in Criteria through that red tower. So Criteria right now is kind of enclosed unless you want to do Cathedral heated room runs, which of course they don't have the health to do it. Neither runner does at this point. So she's going to take a ship refill here. Unfortunately, she does have bombs though, so maybe we see a gauntlet. Okay, so that's going to lead back into Upper Norfair as well. And so this can also be in logic too, coming down Crab Hole here like this. This could lead into Green Bryn, which could be really big. So it looks like Sloaters is coming to do the same play that Nitro's doing here, just has a little bit more info. And it comes out to meme route. Okay. This is really interesting. So the logic only counts the first reserve. So, and the reserve Sloater has from the X-ray deboost is also just not in logic at this point. Has that changed? Because the patch notes definitely said it only counted the first reserve. Sloater saved at the ship. Either way, the second reserve is not in logic from this X-ray deboost. So neither player currently has enough energy for heated runs through Cathedral. Gotcha. Okay. So, okay. Gotcha. So it checks the E-tanks up to the first. Okay. Number of E-tanks plus 1th reserve. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because the way I would read that is all your E-tanks and then the first reserve, but I guess that's if you have 3 E-tanks, 4 reserves, it counts all 4 reserves. Okay. The wording on that was, I was misreading it. Okay, so this is a little unfortunate for Nitro here. Yeah. And because it's just a reserve, Nitro's got to save. That's really not the worst. You are just missing that reserve. The big thing looking at here is that the gauntlet seems like has something that could pay off here for both players. Because in terms of the health logic, the running through, excuse me, sorry, my brain is fried at the moment. The running through Cathedral in the heated rooms is just not in logic at the moment, regardless of how the reserves count it, because that reserve that is at X-ray is not in logic. They do. Yes, there is the Chronic Boost portal as well, which could get you to the Croc portal. And that is in logic. Or, yeah. Okay, so it looks like Sloaters is coming back through here. and is going to run to the Croc portal. Again, though, with the 1+2, depending on, she's probably either not thinking about it or just assuming that the item at Gauntlet there is an E-Tank for this to be something that the seed is requesting her to do. And there's a super missile for her. So none of the items in Bubble Mountain are currently in logic with Sloater's current equipment. However, the Croc portal is. Yep, and it looks like she recognizes that and is going to the Croc portal here. So Nitro is kind of in the same spot as Sloaters, but is down that reserve from the X-Ray deboost death. I think he's also kind of trying to figure out what to do. Or, okay, Sloaters just taking the refill instead. And I guess she's going to do Bubble Mountain in this case. You can get to the speed booster location on 3. You can get through all this stuff with this equipment. It can be really slow if an E-Tank doesn't show up, though. Which is why the only currently in logic with this health that she has is that portal at the Croc location. And if I'm Nitro here, I know I'm down that reserve, but also I'm thinking that reserve is also not in logic, because again, that X-Ray deboost is not. But both players are playing as if the Gauntlet is holding an E-Tank at the moment. Well, okay, it looks like Nitro is going to do a double springball jump here to try and get to the Redfish portal. So this is a pretty hard trick to do. And that is not good. Sloaters needs an E-Tank here. Yep. So normally this is going to require a grapple beam here, which is something that could have been at Gauntlet to show that this was the right way to go. But that E-Tank for Sloaters is really big. She doesn't die, but it is going to be some really slow farming back up now. And that's the thing about these Upper Norfair Bubble Mountain heated runs here is farming is really slow. Being able to manage these is a really good way. You know, having more health saves a ton of time, and being able to manage these properly is one way certain runners can separate themselves from other runners. And with this stuff, Sloaters is having this in between each one kind of. Which is why I'm a little surprised she didn't at least check the Croc portal first, because a green Bryn there is just so huge. And Redfish is green Bryn. So there's a chance that this is locked behind a grapple beam somewhere. Or gravity suit. A grapple beam at Gauntlet possibly, or a gravity suit somewhere else. Maybe in this Upper Norfair even. Or even behind Botswoon. An Ice Beam at Gauntlet would put Botswoon in logic. as snail climbing is in fact something that the game considers as expecting you to be able to do. And Croc at the middle. With this health, I mean, I guess Nitro feels really far behind. But in this health situation, even E-tanks there can be super beneficial for you. Okay, so Sloaters is going to miss the wave beam check, as well as the single chamber portal. And it looks like she's going back to Business Center. Oh, you know, Sloaters didn't check the Kraid boss, so she's probably feeling really bad. Like she needs to go check that boss right now. Because it could be locking a suit. It could be a vanilla Kraid with a suit. So Sloaters is going to find Ridley here. And she does have a save at Bubble Mountain, so she's going to reset back to that Bubble Mountain save and possibly check the wave beam. And hopefully single chamber. With this health, you kind of need wave beam to be an E-tank or Varia to be able to get them both at the same time. Not necessarily, but it can get pretty tricky at this kind of health. And Nitro's coming through this pink Bryn right now. Finding only E-tanks so far. Finding Croc at the middle and skipping it. I have to imagine that's a play where he thinks he's a bit behind, possibly. Or he's just trying to push this advantage of Green Bryn as far as possible. And it looks like Sloaters is going to forego checking the wave beam item, and is instead going to check this Croc portal. And as chat is pointing out, the Croc could be locked behind Grav or Grapple, which is very true, meaning that the number of good items that Croc can hold goes down, which is also a very fair point. Okay, so that's really interesting. The Croc portal leads to the front of Wreck Ship. And we found the Ice Beam in Green Bryn Star. So technically this is a beatable boss for Sloaters no matter what it is, but with these resources again, Dragon is kind of dubious. And yes, this Green Bryn is technically out of logic at the moment. Depending on where the elevator takes, or, you know, the grapple beam could be the solution, or, you know, it's something in here. But as far as we're aware so far as viewers, there has been no item to put this Green Bryn in logic at the moment. Which, you know, could be big. It could also be bad, right? If this is a place where he doesn't need to go, right? You just clear an entire Green Bryn and don't find anything. So we're gonna get a boss here, probably Kraid or Fantoon. And then it's Fantoon, Vanilla Fantoon. So this is looking like Sloaters feels alright. Probably feels pretty bad about doing Bubble Mountain before the Croc portal though. And that's kind of a big reason why I think sometimes it's a good idea to not just see, oh, I can technically do the Bubble Mountain items, I should do them now. Extra health speeds it up significantly, and if you can kind of recognize the logical health situation that you're in, you can find yourself at this portal a lot faster. And Turian is at the top of Green Bryn. So this Green Bryn is locked behind a grapple or a gravity suit. And it looks like Nitro is going to pass Croc on the way back through. And after a fantastic Fantoon fight from Sloaters, let's see if Nitro decides to do Crocomire, as well as how much of this Wreck Ship does Sloaters check. So coming over here to the right super, the wreck ship is really weird, especially with a vanilla Fantoon. So there's just an E-tank at the right super. So there's the right super, there's the wreck ship tank, and then there's two major items at bowling. However, without the speed booster, only one of those is available. Without speed booster, it's kind of rare for a runner to check bowling just because it is such a time investment. And Sloater skipping the ammo check, that's surprising. It looks like she's planning on full clearing the wreck ship here, is going to be doing bowling and checking what the reserve is without the speed booster, can't really get it, and wants to end at the wreck ship E-tank. And I think that's okay, because the back of wreck ship is in logic with these high jump boots as well. Based on what we know, though, it is not a portal she's really going to be able to follow. It's not going to lead to Green Bryn. It has to lead to either single chamber or lower Norfair. Okay, and it's just Spazer there at the reserve. Yeah, and as chat pointed out, yes, it has to be LN actually. It cannot be single chamber, because single chamber is the only non area left, so she will find LN at the back, which, if no Various suit shows up here, is not a good situation for her to be in, unfortunately. Nitro gonna bomb jump up. This is gonna be a little bit faster than doing the gate glitch. If you don't have movement items or bombs, you can always do a green gate glitch at the top here to get grapple from the other side, but it is a bit slower than doing what Nitro is doing here. And Nitro finds space jump. So the ice beam in Green Bryn is a bit big, because with the spring ball and the ice beam, front of East Meridia is in logic. So Sloaters find the Various suit at gravity. So that can be big for her, but it's also not an item Nitro might need. Nitro might be able to end up skipping that Various suit later on. And so Sloater is going to take a save here and check Wreck Ship E and East Ocean here. East Ocean is in logic with just the high jump boots. And yeah, I imagine both runners probably don't feel like they're in a really good spot. I think Sloaters feels like she made a mistake in trying to do the Bubble Mountain stuff on the health she had. And I think Nitro does not feel good about his early game and the fact that this Green Bryn has not worked out for him at all. The Ice Beam could be pretty big later, though. Very much dependent on where a grapple beam is located. Because while the Ice Beam does put Suitless Spatoon in logic, the Ice Beam is locked behind grapple or gravity suit. So both of our runners are still looking for one of those two items, and it's Charge Beam at Wreck Ship E. That's pretty big for Sloaters. She's been skipping a lot of ammo checks, and having Wave Plasma with that Charge Beam is really good. Very rewarded for skipping the ammo checks here. So at this point, we might see Nitro try to do a Bubble Mountain. His health is in a much more comfortable position to do a Bubble Mountain. And Sloaters here is going to find Lower Norfair. We don't know if it's the front or the back. Items that are missing are still the Wave Beam. There's still the item behind Ridley that's missing. Gravity could also always just be at the Batoon location as well. Yeah, because whatever is a Gauntlet kind of, you know, it decides. Well, actually, no. Grapple at Gauntlet puts both players in logic because the reserve at X-Ray would also be in logic for Sloaters. So it's you can probably guess it's most likely an E-Tank here at the Gauntlet, but it is an interesting item if you're trying to follow the logic of the seed here, because whatever it is kind of depends on which whether Nitro is in logic or not. But of course, according to himself, he is not, right? You can't pretend that he knows what's at Gauntlet. And there's a grapple beam in Lower Norfair. So that could be really good for Nitro if he decides to check bowling in this situation. Nitro is going to know that this connects to Lower Norfair at this point. So there's a good chance that he decides to full clear the ship here as well. And this also opens up a lot of potential places for the gravity suit. Okay, so Nitro, how about a nice little 3-round Fantoon here, it looks like. Sloaters is killing the Metal Pirates here. She's gonna find out whatever boss is down here. If it's Dragon, that grapple makes getting out a lot easier. If it is Kraid here, Kraid Closet comes into play as well. And also, Dragon here helps Sloaters a lot, because that means Dragon isn't vanilla. Dragon being vanilla might have a chance to harm Sloaters a little bit if she doesn't end up finding a way through the Batoon hallway, be it Ice or Speed Booster. Crystal Flash Clip can get a little inconsistent sometimes, and it is Kraid. So, depending on kind of where Sloaters decides to check things, and Nitro could end up, even if, for instance, Gravity Suit is just behind Kraid here, or Kraid's Closet, or Ridley, Nitro has that Ice Beam, which can be really big. And is just an E-Tank here. So if I'm Sloaters in this situation, I'm thinking about going out the front of Lower Norfair here. You're still missing Green Bryn. But Croc there is really bad. Sloaters is missing Croc. That's really hard, because you also are in a situation where checking Screw Attack could be really good. It looks like, based on how she's playing this, she's possibly preparing to go out the front with these health farms here. And it is nice that Sloaters has Spring Balls / regular bombs here. With only 5 power bombs, she actually would not be able to get out without either of those items. So Nitro knows that the back is Lore and Orphere here. So the question is he going to check bowling, or is he going to go into East Meridia? Because there is 2 options at the moment. Or doing Upper Norfair even. I suppose we've not seen the wave beam location for either of them, and Nitro has not done any of the Bubble Mountain checks that Sloaters has. Yep, and you know, skipping bowling here, it makes sense from Nitro's perspective. Bowling is really slow. You don't have speed booster to check the other item. You have complete portal knowledge, and Varia is not really required. Really, Nitro's in a situation where he kind of just needs E-Tanks. He could complete this seed completely suitless at this point. He has everything that he needs to beat the game. As we see Sloaters going through Amphitheater here. This takes up a good bit of health. It looks like Nitro's going to do the Kraid boss here. Oh, Sloaters. And this Ridley here could have the gravity suit. And that would actually be pretty big info for Nitro if this Ridley has the gravity suit, because that info would mean that beyond Batoon's item, none of the stuff in East Meridia could house his Varia suit. And Sloaters is going out the front without checking Screw Attack. So the fact that it can be Croc also does make checking Screw Attack worse, so I totally get it. Unfortunately, with the knowledge that we have, she's running low on stuff left to check. There's the Wave Beam location, and then a Green Bryn that only has the Ice Beam, which would put the Batoon item in logic. It looks like we are going to see what's at the Wave Beam now. Definitely 5+1 Ridley is a little suspect, but with 30 supers in high jump, it should not be too terrible unless Nitro makes a mistake here. Oh, did Sloaters check Wave Beam? I don't remember seeing her check it, but maybe she did, and I just like completely missed it. That's possible, honestly. Oh, that's bad for Nitro. Yep, Sloaters is coming to do the same thing Nitro is doing, but Sloaters does have the Kraid and Lore and Orphere already dead. And Nitro forgot to refill his health, unfortunately. Just an E-tank here at Crate Closet. It's a nice little heal for sloaters before the fight. The other thing about the order this was done in is even if Sloaters is eventually going to find that Green Bryn in Turian location for a Gravity in East Meridia, unfortunately for Nitro, finding that Charge Beam later means that his ammo is, you know, he's got like significantly more ammunition than she did, which is a lot of time as well, just in fanfare alone. Yeah, and the Ridley's tough. With this you know, equipment, you can't really afford to make a mistake and take a hit. With a gravity suit, you can take a hit for sure under this health, but without, those hits from Ridley are quite a bit of damage. 160 on the body and 120 on the tail. So it looks like Nitro is doing Bubble Mountain here. Quick recap here. Sloaters has the Varia from the gravity suit location. Nitro, without the grapple beam, did a double spring ball jump up West Meridia to find a totally secluded green Bryn Star up there, in which he found the ice beam. Nitro did not kill Ridley either, unfortunately. He had a rough time in the 5+1 fight. Suitless, it's without the gravity suit, it can be a lot harder to kill Ridley. Body shots are, you know, 160, a tail shot's 120. I'm finally gonna get to see this wave beam check. And it's just an E-tank. So based on what we know, as viewers here, with complete information, the gravity suit can be at 2 remaining locations. It can be at the screw attack location, or it can be at the Botswoon location. Sloaters is missing Ice Beam and does not currently have the power bombs for a Crystal Flash clip. So currently she's still an item short of a Suitless Meridia. Nitro doesn't necessarily need a grappling beam for a Suitless Meridia. There's some stuff that you can do with Space Jump and Spring Ball for the room before Coliseum that isn't too difficult. So maybe after this, if this doesn't turn out to be Gravity, we see Nitro going into Lower Norfair here. This is certainly one of those seeds where you know, it's getting a bit tricky to figure out which way you need to go. And I could certainly see a situation where a player could have played the seed and not found either suit, just based on their locations. That's a winning play in this seed so far. It seems like there's certainly a world where someone is able to do this seed without finding a suit, but without screw attack, lower Norfair, without at least gravity suit, gets pretty suspect. And the power bombs are just also not working out in Nitro's favor if he wants to skip that Varia suit. That certainly helps, but I can't help but think both of these runners right now are not feeling too good. They probably both feel a bit behind, if not very behind. This is a really rough seed to play. That bowling location is certainly one that a lot of people elect to skip without a speed booster. And then without early power bombs, Gauntlet was, you know, you don't really want to check Gauntlet on 5 power bombs plus bombs if you could avoid it. So even if Gauntlet was like a speed booster or something, doesn't help that much either. This is definitely a really rough one to play. Yep, and Sloaters is looking for power bombs for a Crystal Flash clip at this point, it feels like. Because Dragon is vanilla. I guess Nitro is doing this to refill his reserves here in this situation, as opposed to just taking the refill. It looks like he's going to come back and try to fight Ridley. Yep, and if you're Sloaters, Sloaters has full portal knowledge, though. Yeah. She has full portal knowledge at this point. She knows Turian's at the top. Right, so this is a hard decision, right? Because if it's in green, Bryn won't skip this. Right, but if it's this, you get to skip the rest of green Bryn. Because you know Turian's at the top here. So it's a really hard decision on what order you want to do this in. With the charged plasma beam, it's a pretty quick croc fight. But it still is, gonna be a bit slow. This seed is certainly a marathon for both of our runners. It's really hard, especially in a race, in a tournament of this caliber. It's really stressful to be racing like this, especially when you have a seed that seems to be pretty mean at every corner here. The Varia location being mean, and then just, this logical chain here is pretty difficult to find. And at the end of the day, the gravity suit could have just been screw attack the whole time anyway. Yep, and Nitro's going to get rewarded with a reserve tank, and as his second boss completed, probably doesn't feel very good right now. Your Sloaters is going to find her space jump as well. And a super missile. She has 15 power bombs now. She can do a crystal flash clip, but with all a green Bryn remaining, I think it'd be a little nuts to just elect to leave. But she's possibly in a situation where she's expecting to find gravity here and wants to be able to CF clip after finding the gravity. Possibly expecting a speed booster or an ice beam at the gauntlet. And at this point, Nitro looks to be going to gauntlet. And then maybe he's just running across criteria to do East Meridia at this point. He's kind of given up on finding a suit. Yep, and that's what Nitro is doing. Heading across criteria to get to Red Bryn Star in order to do East Meridia here, so... This East Meridia for Nitro is going to involve a snail climb, which with Spring Ball, snail climb is not too difficult of a trick. And then he's going to have to do a double spring ball jump in the room before Coliseum to get up to the little platform on the left with the door to Cack Alley. And then he's going to space jump from there, because you can get a space jump going from there to get up. And Sloater's not picking up the X-Ray, with Dragon and Botswoon still outstanding, and Charge Wave Plasma. That's interesting. I would have expected this is the situation where X-Ray is best, but... Yep, and here's the snail climb with the spring ball here. Unfortunately for Sloater, she checked these in the opposite order she needed. And there is the power of the X-ray scope with the plasma beam and charge beam. That works on both Botswoon and Dragon. And there's the gravity suit. This was, yeah, a big location. Unfortunately, Nitro took a while to get here. He's been able to get here for a while, and he probably feels pretty bad. because he's found nothing but E-tanks for a long, long time. In a seed like this, though, hard to feel good because it's just slow, and it's really easy to just assume your opponent did all the right stuff. There we go. Pretty quick Dragon fight from Nitro. Since Nitro is still missing that grapple beam and his ice beam is out of logic, Varia cannot be here as far as Nitro is aware at this point. Unless grapple shows up in either Gauntlet or top of wrecked ship. But even still, an E-tank is very helpful for Nitro. With this equipment, front to back LN is doable on this equipment without the Varia suit. With only one Crystal Flash, it's a little suspect. You're kind of needing an E-tank at least one of the items, either the boss or Firefly. Otherwise, you're going to have to be farming quite a bit. You will get the grapple beam, though, which is pretty big. It increases farming a lot, so this is a perfectly possible Lore and Warfare for Nitro without the Varia suit here. And it looks like Nitro is planning on doing snail climb here, or snail clip here rather, looking for some power bombs. But it doesn't get it. And the hard part for Nitro here is the Lore and Warfare portals. One of them being chamber makes suitless Lore and Warfare a lot harder because you're having to go through heated rooms to even get to the portal. One thing that makes suitless Lore and Warfare significantly easier in area is generally it's not connected to a heated area. So it saves a good bit of health not having to continue through heated areas. Now here's Sloaters coming to kill her final boss, and it's just on to Turian at the top of Green Bryn for her. And Nitro's kind of trying to figure out what to do right now. It's a really rough situation because, you know, none of the LN portals are good to want to do it right now. Ideally, you'd want more power bombs than you have. Wonderful grapple kill from Sloaters there. And she's checking here. I mean, you've checked so much of the game that Speed Booster could show up here, but that is the only item you're looking for. It's the only item that saves you anything. And, you know, it's still, you know, it's the longest major to check after a boss, but With space jump, it's less bad because space jumping out of Dragon's room is pretty quick. But a check like that for just speed booster can get, maybe a little bit safe. So it looks like Nitro's going to single chamber. This map is really spread out. So Nitro's going to have to go to single chamber here. And the way Sloaters is going to want her out the end game is she's going to want to come out the front of East Meridia and go to the middle of Red Brinstar to get to Redfish and then go all the way up Green Brinstar. The speed booster definitely saves a lot of time when having to go up Green Brinstar like that, but it was definitely the only item there she's looking for. So Nitro showing off here. It's weird when you have Plasma Beam with just Ice Beam and no Wave Beam. The fire rate of your beam actually is faster than general. It is equal to that of the fire rate of regular missiles. I'm not sure why, but it's a weird little quirk that really only shows up in Randomizer when you just have Ice and Plasma. So Sloater's going to be running to Turian here with the Ice Beam and full beam combo. She's not going to need to power bomb the Metroid. It's going to be a pretty quick Turian. And nice farming up here to do a lower Norfair, and unfortunately for him, it's going to be the front, which is going to make this harder. Certainly still doable, though. He's gonna... He could play for an E-Tank at Firefly, but he's going to have to Crystal Flash to get to that E-Tank anyway. So what's probably going to happen is Nitro's going to check the GT item, hoping for an E-Tank, but if not, just take the health refill. And is hopefully going to be able to carry that health entirely across to Firefly. And hope to find an E-Tank there. If he doesn't find an E-Tank there, he's going to have to Crystal Flash and farm up some more Power Bombs in order to do a second Crystal Flash for the way out. Assuming the item behind the boss is not an E-Tank. And nice green gate glitch from Nitro there. Sloaters is getting to show off her skill here with these Metroid rooms. She's definitely one of the top runners here, and it can be really showcased to the Metroid rooms with all the quick item swapping and a nice little spring ball tech there to get through room 3 pretty quick. And screw attack. That helps Nitro a lot, actually. It makes worst room in the game much better. That is actually a really good item for him to find there. It also makes this fast pillars room a lot faster. No need to power bomb or anything. Can just space jump through. The Sloaters is on her way to the baby Metroid here. So if you're Nitro now, you're certainly not feeling good. And I think if you're Sloaters, you're also not feeling good. But I think one thing Sloaters might be thinking is she might be thinking, in this case, Nitro's not done yet. So that means it's likely something kind of bad happened to him as well, which can be kind of comforting sometimes if no one, like, you feel really far behind, but your opponent's also not finished yet. In a time when you feel like they should have, it can, offer a little bit of comfort. So Nitro is about to show off why bombs can be really big in a varioless Lord Warfare here. He's not going to need to use 2 power bombs to get through some of the blocks in Wasteland, and he's going to be able to Crystal Flash still. If he wanted to be able to Crystal Flash in time, before he would have had to make sure he had 15 coming down here, and then he would have had to use his Crystal Flash power bomb in a double way. There would need to be a double use there. He would have needed to use it to break these blocks or break the blocks at the beginning, basically. So you're just gonna wait here in Crystal Flash. I think with these resources, I think that's exactly what you kind of have to do. The worst thing that you can do in one of these is try to push it too hard. He's got plenty of health, plenty of resources. He's gonna be able to farm power bombs. And he still has a Kraid down there, which is very likely to just house an E-Tank at this point for him as well. And if Kraid has an E-Tank, he, probably doesn't even need a Crystal Flash to get out anyway. Okay, so it looks like Nitro is refilling power bombs again, just in case that the boss here doesn't have an E-Tank, as Sloaters is finishing up her Mother Brain fight. Pretty easy old route Mother Brain fight there. KPDR Mother Brain with the full beam combo, 20 charge shots. She has plenty of health. No real mortal danger there in that Mother Brain fight. As Nitro's coming in on his last boss here, Kraid. It's kind of unfortunate the seed worked out in the way that it did for Nitro. Generally speaking, you can skip Varia in a lot of seeds. This is a seed where skipping Varia might have been able to have been the play, but the hard part about skipping a Varia in this seed is the vanilla Fantoon. You're probably going to find that before you have the resources to do the Lore and Warfare back-to-back right there, unfortunately. So Sloaters coming here through the escape. This is the other really big save of Speed Boosters. You actually save a lot of time in this escape here. And with that E-Tank behind Kraid and a Crystal Flash, Nitro is just incredibly safe. He's going to be headed to Turian after this as well. As Sloaters is finishing up here, being able to spark climbs, another really big speed booster save. The 2 sparks that you do in the escape are just pretty massive. And Sloaters has finished in first place. with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 14 seconds. Pretty gross map, pretty challenging seed. A really disgusting Varia location. But a quick 2-0 for Sloaters here. And let's see if we can get these runners in for an interview, possibly. We are joined by Nitro here for an interview. Good games, Nitro. The first seed pretty linear. That second seed was really unfortunate. A lot of stuff and a really big logic chain to get the items necessary for that gravity suit.
Yeah, thanks, GG's. GG's to Sloaters, a very deserved win. I mean, I didn't play very well, so... And I played bad and made a few game-losing decisions, so... That's how it goes sometimes.
The Varia being at bowling is, like, tricky, right? You have all of Upper Norfair. All of Bubble Mountain left. You have, a lot of
I made a
stuff
few
goes into
mistakes.
that.
I really should have just gone to Eastpartia first anyway. But, yeah.
It's kind of hard to pull the trigger on that, though, because, like, that's playing for gravity being there, is what I was thinking. Like, because on console watching it, it's like I have more information, and I know what play wins, like, gives you the best chance kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, going to East Meridia there was in my mind, but in the moment, it's really hard with the incomplete information. But, like, knowing the LN location and the fact you've not found Varia yet, the hard part is like, not having been able to do that gauntlet kind of like tells a lot about the seed, because with your double springwell jump there, and the way the health was, the reserve at X-ray wasn't in logic, so like hell running.
So it
to
wasn't
the
E-Tank
Croc
and
portal.
Gauntlet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that was the
yeah.
case,
Yep.
and I just wanted to avoid the hell runs, and it was definitely unfortunate that the out of logic Green Bryn and Croc all pretty much amounted to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Slaughter still needed to go there for that ice beam.
That's true.
So like it kind of didn't. It like route's really nice, but the problem is like it just took so long to get there, and then missing that Varia suit kind of really snowballed. I think if you check bowling there, it's really, really close, and that didn't really hurt you that bad. Because at the time it was like, well, like grapple could just be a gauntlet. So
yeah,
like,
I guess it could have been grapple.
Like what? But so like the thing about grapple at gauntlet is though, is that also puts the reserve at X-ray in logic, which actually would have put the Croc portal in logic. I seem to have been misreading the patch notes, the explanation there. I was misreading it on how it counts the reserves. It counts the reserves up to 1 beyond the number of E-tanks you have. So like 0 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 3 plus 4, 2 plus 3 is how it will count it, basically. So like it, if 3 plus 3 is good, 2 plus 3 is good, but 1 plus 3, it'll only count 2 of your reserves in that situation. Basically meaning you don't have to ever pause to refill your reserves and risk losing out on them.
I see.
So grapple there even would have put the Croc portal in logic there though. But yeah, it was a rough one because especially if you've never been in that situation. It looks like Sloaters. So Sloaters she decided to try Bubble Mountain, and it went really poorly. Wasn't even able to check Wave Beam or the single chamber portal. and she skipped the Croc boss or the Crate boss check at the beginning too. So she took her Bubble Mountain save and like her Wave Beam and Plasma across to like check the Crate boss again after some Bubble Mountain mishaps. And like there's a qualifier where that was like a situation where because I think with only 3 there, none of the Bubble Mountain stuff's in logic, and I think following the portal is just so likely to be a green Bryn, or in this case like a doable wreck ship, and then the energy just like speeds up your Bubble Mountain a bunch. There was a qualifier like that, but the qualifier just ended up having Variasuit just at Wave Beam, and you came out at single chamber, so just everyone got Varia right away. Or you didn't come out. Yeah, you came out single chamber. Someone just got Varia right away. And Sloater's saying in chat here, she marked her tracker wrong and thought she already knew the Croc portal, and then halfway through checking Bubble Mountain, realized that it was marked wrong. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Because yeah, I was a little confused because I think like even like 2+1 or like 3 full tanks, the Croc portal is like so likely to give you good items there, or at least something to put it in logic. And even if it's like just health to put it in logic, it speeds it up so much, kind of thing. Okay, yeah, I thought so, and I saw you turn around and was a little confused. So this looks like Sloater's. She was heading there, and then her tracker was mismarked and realized that she missed the portal. Yeah, and that can happen. And that's also why, like, you know, the not being able to get Gauntlet early in like low health Hell Run seats is really can get really weird, because like there was a situation where those like might not have been completely in logic, or whatever, based on what's at Gauntlet kind of thing. Like there's just a lot of weird stuff that can go on, and especially in like a really rough seed like this, that E-Tank is so nice. Would have been so nice for I think both of you. It's just, do you really want to check Gauntlet with bombs and 5 power bombs when you get back to Criteria after you go through like the Red Bryn loop? Not really.
Yeah, it was a really weird situation. I ended up like actually being super confused by it in the moment.
Yeah.
I was like very expecting the last portal or whatever to actually go somewhere, because there just like wasn't energy for Bubble Mountain, and then I was like,
and like that's kind of where doing the West Meridia fall early, I really like that, because you have the save there, and it's just really good information. And like if it's not logically required, it could get you to a place faster, or it just gives you like information really early. With High Jump and Spring Ball, Mama Turtle is in logic as well.
Right.
Also, you could have Spring Ball jumped to it instead of Power Bomb bounced.
Yeah, I figured I was resetting anyway, which is why I just
that's
gave
fair.
up on it.
Yeah, that's completely fair. And you did end up resetting anyway, so it didn't matter. And it kind of doing that early in the seat, since it ended up being required, but it ended up being required with more health than you had, so you had to do it later. It just kind of made it funky and hard to remember. Like, oh, that's logically what I need to do with, maps that are really have areas that are like really sequestered. It can get really hard sometimes, because the seed is like, quote, linear, but like you can get really lost on that like quote linear path
so easy.
really quickly.
Because of that, because like I reset out a Croc and then like didn't have the tank at first, and then I was like, oh well, Gauntlet is probably another tank that I would really like to have if I'm doing hell runs. That's definitely what like pushed me to want to just go to Redfish Portal, because it was pretty likely to be somewhere, not terrible.
Yeah, exactly. And then it ends up being the most secluded green Bryn of all time, and it's like, this is either insane or terrible. Because like there's also, with the way the portals worked out in that green Bryn, a very good chance that Sloaters wouldn't have to do it. If like a big item doesn't show up. So then the Ice Beam shows up, and it's still just like, is this Ice Beam huge? Like, is it worth following it? Kind of thing. And like trying to do East Meridia.
definitely could.
Because spring ball, because like spring ball, space jump, high jump, ice beam is, I mean, you ended up doing it in the seed, right? Is a really doable East Meridia. Like, you have to double spring ball jump the pre-aqueduct room, but like space jump speeds up Coliseum so much, and you know it's really doable. But it's hard to kind of pull the trigger on that because you know the logical chain, and at that point you can ascertain the logical chain is wrecked ship. Or Bubble Mountain has Varia, right? Or even Gravity in Bubble Mountain, right? So it's like you don't want to push it either because you don't know enough. It becomes a really big gamble to kind of push that ice beam advantage, and then bowling's a hard call there, I think. Having already like done and seen Green Bryn, I was thinking maybe you would do it, but I also totally get skipping it. It's really hard to do bowling without speed booster because it just feels like dead time so often, especially if like it ends up being the reserve item and it's like, oh cool.
Yeah, I think I definitely felt like I had to skip it with just like how things were going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard to say who was ahead if you check that, even. Because at that point you had complete portal knowledge, so then Sloaters ends up.
The only problem was I didn't know which side of LN
Well,
it was,
yeah.
which was kind of a problem.
It was,
ways.
but I meant like you find the Varia, you go out the back into LN no matter what, right? And it ends up being the back for you, right? And you can do it back to back. Because you'll find the grapple beam down there and be like, I'm go mode. I don't need to go back. Yeah, I don't need to go back out the front and like check Bubble Mountain from here, kind of thing. I'm go mode. I have grapple, ice,
really good,
everything, and you'd be able to do it back to back. Just go to East Meridia at that point, and then like kill, and like you've already got Green Bryn out of the way, so like it. Instead of having to go out the front like Sloaters did, but the thing is going out the front for Sloaters is also kind of scary because she didn't know Croc yet.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I think it would have been really close with that check, but I don't think it's a bad skip. Maybe with how much was remaining for you to check, you could argue it was a bad skip. In game one, I liked your speed booster skip. It just ended up being the worst possible situation for it, which makes it really easy to judge as an incorrect play, but I don't even think it was an incorrect play. Because
to be honest, I think I got pretty damn unlucky in the first seed. Like I just needed any of speed, ice, or charge to show up at any of the other items for the rest of the seed, and none of it did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think if you're like, because in that situation, it's like you're looking for 3 items. You don't need any of those 3 either, as you demonstrated, right? So like you don't want to necessarily be checking everything. You don't want to be checking slow stuff. So like if you're gonna skip a major item, I think speed booster is one you skip, right? And it just kind of happened to be like worst possible punish in that not only is it charge in a terrible ammo seed, speed booster is Craig Closet, and ice is Wreck Ship Reserve. Like
you just couldn't get any of it.
You just weren't getting. You were not getting either of those ever, right? So it just kind of was like worst case scenario for you. I mean, even if you check it, you are still behind at that situation. So it's not like.
I would agree. I don't think I would have won even if I had it. It was far enough.
Yeah, I don't exactly. I don't think it was game deciding.
In that round as well, like.
I don't think it was game deciding, but it was like obscenely unlucky because I think that was also a situation. There was a match earlier where someone was in a similar situation to you. Ammo was like starting to look bad for you. Their ammo was worse in that situation, and they were still missing a Zeb skip, and they checked left sandpit instead of right. And I know Zeb and a few others went back and forth on left sandpit versus right sandpit there. I mean, there's hindsight involved in this, obviously, but I'm almost more convinced about the right sandpit now. It's like you don't need the Zeb skip, right? You don't need it. It's huge if you get it, sure, but
you really want it. It saves a huge amount of time. Like unless you can get like so much ammo
but
that
like
you can
a super,
do it
right? You're far more likely to get a super in right sandpit, and like a super can save you almost equal amount of time if the ammo like starts to get really, really, really bad, kind of thing.
Yeah, in a way.
So like I don't know, it's kind of hard to, right? It's one of those things where
Left versus right
you
sandpit
can't
there's no good
in
answer.
that situation, yeah, because like you can't. It take a lot of computing power to go through every single possible permutation of where the items could be to like ascertain which one is like necessarily the correct one. So it's kind of one of those like intuition plays, or maybe you're someone who like wants to gamble on the major versus.
Yeah, I think I'll always be team sandpit, especially like if I have anything more than like just charge will help me. I think left sandpit's good.
Yeah.
Like if it's only charge you're looking for, like yeah, you just obviously you just want the ammo. Like the ammo
Yeah.
will just be better. But
Absolutely.
when like anything will help, it's like I think it's worth the risk.
Yeah. It's hard because like the supers were looking so good in that seed too, and then they just absolutely dried up immediately, really bad. But yeah, that's the hard part about skips is you kind of got to not regret them because I don't think it was wrong to do, and
No,
that's
yeah,
life, right?
yeah, it's just unlucky. Oh well.
And I think, thankfully, in this situation too, it probably didn't decide the outcome, so you probably don't feel too bad about it.
Nah.
But
yeah, no, I think I was losing both of these either way, just from my gameplay. I just really wasn't playing very well. Which it was just gonna be really tough to overcome that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sloaters has some of the best execution out there. She's one of the old guard, very good at randomizer, turns out.
Yeah.
Okay, then anything else?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, GG to Sloaters again, of course, and thank you, Cutie, for the comms, and MM2 for tracking. And yeah, that's it for me.
All right, sounds good. Currently in this tournament, we have a few races going on right now. We have Eddie versus one race going on right now. We have Eddie versus Bessingham over on Speedgaming 3. That is another winners round 2 match. That is a game 3 going on right now. And then later tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern time, we have a best of 3 that starts. Plumpst versus Glove. Glove, she's really good at randomizer. Fantastic runner as well. Plumpst had a bit of an upset in the early round, round 1 there, and has kind of been riding on it. He's been practicing. He's a dark horse in this tournament for sure. So that's going to be an interesting best of 3. All 3 games are scheduled for tonight, starting at 10 p.m. Eastern time, also over on Speedgaming 3. So if you're interested in more Super Metroid Randomizer content from Speedgaming, be sure to check those out. Thank you very much for watching. I've been a real kitty, joined by Nitro. Joined by Nitro for the interview at least. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next mission.